It's episode 235 for March 2nd, 2016. I'm Ryan McCaffrey, Mitch Dyer.
Hello, very busy day.
Marty Sleva.
Your shirt matches the podcast.
Yep.
What?
Your shirt matches
mine?
the podcast.
Yeah, I thought you were talking. You were tugging on your own shirt. I'm like, what are you talking about?
No, you're just very
the communist
on brand
podcast,
today.
just gray, just shades of gray. Destin Legary, hi.
Hi, everybody. I'm reading the show notes.
You should. You should do that.
You caught me mid-email at the beginning. Yeah.
There's just no one. Everyone's all over the place.
I'm working on
Let's
something new.
Focus in.
Working on something I was excited about.
So this is a big show this week. First of all, I want to say thank you. We got a lot of great comments on Larry Herb's appearance last week.
Yeah, thanks for the positivity.
Yeah, he was great. He was fun. We got to sort of send him back with a couple of notes from the community about Live Arcade and digital trial versions and all sorts of stuff. So be sure to listen to last week's show
Was
if you
the
have
note
not
just,
already.
we missed 2008? Bring back 2008. It was wonderful.
That sums
Pretty
it
much,
up,
yeah.
more or less.
There's a 2000 and late joke in there.
Just the sound of Mitch typing.
Anyway,
Kill Destin. No, just kidding.
from last week's show to this week's, we got Phil Spencer. I interviewed him at the Xbox Showcase last week. Only 15 minutes, that's all that they would give me. Otherwise, I would have talked to him for an hour like I always do. So stay tuned. We've got that 15-minute interview that's going to run in the middle of the show after news and marketplace report. So so stay tuned. We'll slot that in. And speaking of Xbox Showcase, Marty, you didn't get to go. You had to be somewhere else, but the
Correct.
other three of us were there.
Yeah.
Mitch, what did you think of the event overall?
I liked it. That event seemed like it was made for me. Like, we went in going like, oh, I don't know if like we really care about a lot of these games. Like, they're all great games like Quantum Break and
Right.
Gears and Ori and Minecraft. But it's not like revolutionary stuff, right? It's not what you would expect from an E3 lineup. So we went
Yep.
in and we were like, there's maybe some okay stuff. But the focus on PC was really interesting for me. I loved how much they're talking about unifying Xbox and PC. And we're going to talk a lot about that on this week's IGN Overclocked, our PC podcast. Subscribe today.
Excellent.
But I like it. I like the philosophy. I think it's problematic. I think there are flaws. But overall, I think they're doing really interesting, really smart things. And I like the direction it's going. I love Phil talking about Xbox as evolving hardware, as something that isn't just static anymore, something that doesn't
We're
just
gonna talk
die
about
the
that,
minute
too.
the generation ends.
Yeah, his opening speech was great. I remember texting you guys. I'm just like, he's talking about like just making it one platform instead of like fracturing the audience.
Yes.
This is good news.
And there are important steps Microsoft needs to make that a reality that I don't know if they're going to be willing to make right away.
you mean like going on Steam?
Going on, not even just Steam, but like global marketplaces. You have to be everywhere if
Right.
you want to appeal to a PC gamer, because the PC gamer can usually access any game they want on any marketplace because they have that choice. They don't with Microsoft.
Yeah.
They're trying to fix that, though. He basically said, we don't want to sell you the same game 10 times. We want
And that's
when
the
you
big
buy
thing.
it once,
Right.
you have
when
that
I buy
game.
Quantum Break, I better have access to that on PC.
Yeah.
That's going to be huge.
Yeah.
When I play Sea of Thieves, I want my save file to exist on Xbox Live, not on my Xbox.
And
I
it
want-
will.
And I want to pull it from my PC because it's like, oh, I'm going on a trip, so I'm going to bring my Surface, and now I'm going to play Sea of Thieves with everyone back home on their Xboxes using my profile, my save, different machine.
Yeah, I love that idea.
I think for me, I admit I was actually a bit disappointed by the event, but I'm not going to necessarily blame Microsoft. I think I created my own heightened expectations. They sent out a save the date for this like a month ago.
Yeah.
Like February 25th, save the date, Xbox and Windows 10 game spring showcase, I believe is what the specific terminology was. So in my head, I went, okay, well, Sony's had, they did Paris Games Week after skipping Gamescom, and then they did PSX. They had these sort of big conferences. They showed off lots of stuff. Microsoft hasn't done a big public thing since Gamescom, where they had an excellent showing.
Yeah,
as
it was
we
almost
recall.
half a year ago.
Yeah, it was a while ago. So I thought, okay, great. Spring showcase here in San Francisco. Might finally get to see maybe a little presentation, a little demo on Halo Wars 2, maybe a little check-in on Crackdown 3, because that was, Destin, you played it.
Yeah, I don't know if
know.
you guys heard, but I got to play Crackdown 3 in Germany.
I don't believe it.
So, I thought maybe we'd see
There's a video of me actually playing it.
see
That's-
that. I thought,
IGN.com.
maybe there's a chance Sea of Thieves, we might see a little,
You wanted
I was
all
looking
the goodies.
when they spring showcase. I thought, okay, we're gonna get a look at some of this new stuff. So the fact that it ended up mostly being Windows 10 releases of Xbox games that are already out,
Minecraft VR.
and I mean,
Yeah.
okay, yeah,
Yeah.
and then stuff like Ori Definitive Edition, a game, one of my favorite
Yeah.
games from last year, but it's like I've already played
But
this
it was
game.
almost a lot of things that we'll be playing before E3.
Division
Yeah.
was there and it was the beta. That was a little strange. I thought like maybe a new mission or something would have been nice.
Yeah,
I was kind of
There were a lot of
I was-
stations for something like we probably.
I was
already played.
surprised. I'm just like, why didn't you just give us another mission or something? You know?
So yeah, I think I was disappointed in it in that regard that it was mostly for us as Xbox gamers old stuff. If you're
Sure. Yeah.
I
If this was a community event, they would have lost their minds because they haven't had access to this stuff like we have. But
Or-
as press, we've seen it all.
If they had, I think maybe there is a little bit of if there'd be one piece of criticism I would have for Microsoft, it would be the naming of the event. They should have said this is a Windows 10 showcase, and then there happened to be a few Xbox stations with stuff like Pit People from the Behemoth.
Sure.
If they had, but the fact that I think it was just the Xbox name kind of created these expectations a little bit for me. If they had really emphasized this is a PC, a Windows 10 gaming showcase, I would have been much more understanding of the fact that there was Gears of War Definitive
PC.
for Windows or Ultimate for Windows 10 and what were some of the other what Mitch just said? Forza for that's the other big
Yeah,
one.
I mean, it was
trying to
also
think of.
that we, for a handful of their games, we have already recently done much deeper dives into them, like The Division and Quantum Break
Yep,
and Dark Souls
that's true.
3.
That's a
like,
fair point.
All these
Fair
things
point.
are games that we played at length recently,
Yes.
whereas they sort of presented them there in just a very small sliver.
Right. But speaking of Quantum Break, this was the first time any of the three of us got to play it.
I've been vocally skeptical about the product.
What do you
on
think?
the
Let's
show.
start with you, Destin. What did you think of the game?
Sold.
They had the first 2 acts of the game,
Yeah.
which amounted to roughly 2 hours.
Yeah.
Did you
I
play
posted
all of it?
Yeah, so I basically, the gameplay that's on IGN, the 55 minutes,
That's
that's
you.
all me
Yeah.
playing. So I got to play it. I got to watch a dev play it first because our capture screwed up. So then I came back and I had to play it.
Yeah.
And it was really fun. I'm sold. I like the acting. The actors in it are fantastic. The abilities are really cool. You're kind of like the Flash with like time-based powers that you can like project on other people, and it gets really interesting the further that you get in, like with all your abilities. Gameplay is solid. We'll see how the story goes. It seems strong so far.
It's very weird in the beginning, like it's very timey-wimey,
kinda
and
yeah.
but it's really cool. I like a lot of the premise.
Did you
the
guys?
show integration isn't bad. It's like Goosebumps.
That's
Choose
what I
your
was
own
I still
adventure.
haven't seen that yet.
Yeah.
So did
Part
you like the
2,
show? Did you like the live action?
I actually it bugged out on me, like it didn't have audio.
Oh, that's okay.
I couldn't capture it, and I was in a time crunch, so I'm like, just skip. Like, okay, yes, the actors come on, and it's based. So you get these time moments where time freezes, and you have to make a decision, and
Right.
they explain it in the narrative. It's in part 2 of the 55 minutes.
Yeah.
In the game or the TV show?
In
Or
the
in real
game,
life.
you make a decision in the game, right? And you either say, kill this person or let them live and do propaganda for us. It's a little bit of a spoiler warning. But then that decision plays out. And then the TV show, based on the decision you made, does it.
So they like film the same scene in 2 different ways. And
Yes.
depending on your
Interesting.
decision, you see
Okay.
that scene.
That
See,
is
I
cool.
actually didn't stick around, so I bet my audience will the audience is gonna hate this, but I think they'll understand. Let me explain myself.
Did you go to a Sony event instead?
No. I was very much there, and I thought it was first of all, I'll say I think it was a very good sign for the anticipation level and the potential success for Quantum Break that at that whole showcase event, there were stations everywhere for all the different games. For most of them, you could find a station and come up and play. Quantum Break, they had, I believe it was at least 16 stations because it was sort of rows of 4 in a separate little building, all full when I went over there in the smack middle of the day. It was not like the beginning of the event, not the end of the event. It was like middle of the day. They were all full. I had to wait probably 20 minutes to get a turn, which was, I think, bodes well for people were very, very interested in playing Quantum Break. And so I've been waiting so long to play this game. I get a chance to play. I'm sort of near the door, so there's a little bit of sunlight coming in. It's getting on my screen a little bit, and the monitor was mounted up high, and I'm in a chair down low, so I'm like kind of craning my neck. And it was the PC version, and for whatever reason,
you're playing
with sun blaring
onto your television.
right, and for whatever reason, the sound. There was no way to adjust it in the game, and there was nothing on the headphones, and it just wasn't quite loud enough. Like I could barely hear the dialogue. So I'm thinking, okay, I've been waiting for this game for so long.
I could wait another month.
Yeah.
I want to experience this the right way. But
Not
I mean,
like
I've got to play this while I'm here. I can't. So I actually
"Not like
stopped.
this."
I did the hour. I did the first hour. I
Yeah.
did Act 1, and then even though Act 2, including the live action show stuff, was also in there, I actually walked away. I said, I'm gonna save.
Yep.
I got a good taste. I want to play this on my terms in a proper environment.
I did
So-
something very similar.
But I will say, before I let you go, Mitch, I really liked it. I really liked the game. It feels good. It looks excellent. I agree.
Yeah.
The acting was good. Story seems like it could go places.
Well, imagine going down that rabbit hole with the TV show, right? So
Right.
I've picked one variation, and now I'm continuing down that path. Then it splits again. Then it splits again. Then it splits again. I wonder how many different versions there are
and then
total.
In the first act alone, the first hour of the game, I found 2 really, really awesome nods to previous Remedy games that I won't spoil.
I only
I'll
found
tell you
one,
what
and
they
it was
are.
beautiful.
Yeah, but there were 2, and I was like, this is awesome. I love this. So
I like how you say to previous Remedy games. There's
What
not-
could they
there's
be?
not- There's not a whole lot of options there.
So
but you don't know which one I'm talking about, and either way, it's interesting,
Were
right?
they both the same game, or were they 2 separate games?
It was the same game. Gotcha.
So there's actually something really subtle about Quantum Break itself. When you make the choice, it's the choice that goes toward a girl or you
Right.
kill her, and then this guy takes her place.
Yep.
Sort of. I hope I'm not being too I'm
You
worried
totally
about
are,
spoilers for the
but-
audience. Anyway, the guy who takes her place is the original character model of the guy for the Quantum Break trailers, but he's
What?
like a cab driver and he's all cranky and really gruff.
Hey
So,
man,
yeah.
you were the lead of the game. Do you want
Yeah.
to come back and be a cab driver?
Yeah, so now he's a cab driver.
That's like
yeah.
in Batman versus Superman. That's like Ben Affleck going from, all right, we're casting you as Bruce Wayne Batman.
That's
to,
like Christian Bale
to like,
showing up in Batman versus Superman as the butler. or
Yeah,
something.
Alfred, you're gonna be Alfred now.
But like, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Damn.
Not even
Dang.
Alfred. That's too much of a
So,
starring
yeah,
role.
Alfred's butler.
Mitch,
Yeah.
what it and I'll just finish by saying, the first act I played I really liked it. It was, I expected Quantum Break to be really good because of Remedy's track record, and the first hour was really good, and I can't wait to play more. I think this is going to be a really good game.
The
What did you-
powers feel great. That's
yes.
what mattered.
What did you take away from it, Mitch?
Yeah, very similar stuff to everything you guys are saying. I especially gravitated like Destin toward the combat because it's really cool to be able to like, okay, I'm in cover and it's a cover-based shooter, but I'm going to stop time on that guy, pump a bunch of bullets into him, dash like the Flash to the other side of the room.
That's called
get
bullet
beh-
stacking.
Get behind somebody. The bullet stack blows up and kills the whatever group is like
Yep.
receiving all those bullets at once. And like while you're doing your flash thing and you're jumping toward people, you can use it evasively too. But I love that if you attack somebody with it, it has like a brief frozen moment where you're like, okay, and you just pump a couple bullets into
Yes.
a dude who's right in front of you. And
Yeah,
you
where you
dart
like,
away again.
hit them, and then they float. They're stunned.
Yeah, it's just super satisfying, but it's also really hard because there are so many dudes in each area that they showed us.
Yes.
But it's because you're so powerful so early on, and I can't wait to see how it changes over time and if those abilities are upgradable or modifiable or if you just get more stuff.
Yeah, I'm just really excited because
I like it.
I'm super in the mood for like a rad 10, 12-hour campaign single player game. I've been playing a little bit of Far Cry, and I like open world games, but
Sure.
like a lot of times I just want something that I'm like, hey, I can burn through this in a weekend and have it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about the sort of like grainy film look that they went with? Because a lot of people are like, "Man, your video thing's really weird." I'm like, "No, that's how the game's presented.
My
They
favorite,
made that.
my
on
favorite thing about the
choice on
original
purpose.
Mass Effect is that sci-fi filter.
Yeah.
I love it. I love that
turn
it
it
looks. Really?
Yeah.
Oh man, I love that it looks like it's on TV.
Yeah.
Like
How
it's
do-
on a tube TV.
So you like that for Quantum Break?
Yeah.
What about you, Ryan?
I'm indifferent on it. It
Yeah.
didn't bother me. I didn't love it. It didn't bother me. I was just kind of.
Can
I
you
was
turn
fine
it off,
with it.
do you know?
I didn't look, but I was fine with it. But I noticed a lot of people in the community were commenting about it, and I was just wondering how you guys
Yeah, I
felt.
saw a little bit about that on
like,
Twitter.
See,
certain
for me,
games,
I'm
like
like-
The Order had that
Yeah.
sort of filmic look.
Yeah. I'm like, I get the artistic direction they're going with. I'm on board. Let's just see what happens, and I'll
Yeah.
trust you as designers.
and I
to
imagine it's
figure
one of
this
those
out.
things where it might be jarring at first, but you play the game for
You just
20
adapt.
minutes.
I-
and
like the first time you were like, DVD has widescreen.
Yeah.
What are these black bars?
It does make the transition into the live action stuff a little uncanny, like because you're like already
Right.
watching real characters in game, then you're watching them real, like
Yeah.
actually acting, and it's kind of like it's
I feel the Matrix
it's a
all
little
over again.
unnerving, but okay.
I'll add too
Yeah.
that the version that they had there, we all played the PC version of the game.
Yeah. I did not. I played Xbox One.
Oh, you played Xbox.
Yeah.
So our video is all Xbox
It's
One
all
video?
Xbox One footage,
Okay.
yes. The PC version was only running at 1080-30. They did say it will run at 1080-60
Yeah.
natively and up to 4K, I believe,
Yeah,
for final launch.
And that's
It can display in 4K.
So playing in 1080-30.
Don't quote me on that. I might be wrong. I don't have this fact sheet in front of me.
Playing
Just-
playing in 1080-30 on PC at that event. So of course the Xbox One version is going to be 1080-30. I'm almost sure
Xbox One's probably 1080-30. I know for sure they said 1080-60
Yeah.
for PC. I don't know about the 4K thing. That's the thing.
4K. It can run at 4K.
It
So,
can. Okay.
yes.
Yeah, I'm thinking after playing it, I might go with the PC version on this game.
Yeah,
I think I might too.
PC
It's the same
and
thing, and
1080-60. Yeah.
I've
Oh wait,
got a
I can't
capable
because I don't have
machine.
a Windows 10 machine.
It's
Why not
free.
just update?
For whatever reason, my home PC does not qualify.
Really?
Yes, like the application that's like, hey, you qualify for free is like not there.
Because you're Canadian.
Have you
when I
tried
go to-
forcing it?
Yes, and it's like, cool, buy today for. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna buy.
Maybe you
Windows
missed
10.
the window.
No, because it wasn't available during when it was like, hey, we're rolling it out and we're rolling it out again, and now it's available for everyone. It just wasn't there. So super
Weird.
cool.
But in any case, good. I'm glad we're all
We liked
equally-
Quantum
we're
Break.
all high on Quantum Break. That's good.
Now let's talk about Killer Instinct Season 3. I thought that adding Arbiter and Tusk was a really interesting. You guys have no idea about this game.
You
too.
get 15 seconds to
Yeah.
talk about it.
I
I
just
really
wanted-
like Killer Instinct Season 3. I love that they brought Tusk from Season 2 back. Arbiter's a great choice. Hopefully, guys, add somebody from Gears of War, and then we get kind of like the Brawl on Xbox. That'd be great.
Could it
That's-
be one,
that's what I get, right?
Could it
That's
be
how
one
much
of the
time I get.
Carmine brothers, since they always just die
Yeah,
anyway?
that'd be
Would
pretty
that
funny.
be
That's
the
pretty
character
funny.
to choose?
That'd be great because you would just call it like Arbiter is just Arbiter. He's not the Arbiter.
Yeah.
He's
No,
not
no,
Keith David.
he's-
You just call him Carmine. It's like which one?
Yeah.
He's just some other guy.
Like
That would
Carmine
be great.
Prime.
Like a Gears character and a like the secondary character
You
for
could do
Halo.
like, what was it,
I don't
General
want,
Ram or something?
Yeah, that's what a lot of people are saying. Ram.
Yeah.
They want Ram.
When
Pronounced
is
wrong.
KI Season 3 coming out?
March 20-somethingth. Oh my God, it's on the
Come
paper.
on, that
Boom.
stinks.
March 29th. Killer Instinct Season 3 is available to download, including characters like Maya, Tusk, Arbiter.
All right, it's not an ad. Stop.
Those are the only three I can
I know,
remember.
it's- but you played it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, you
solid.
had a good time.
I've been playing Killer Instinct a lot more lately.
Yeah.
Still playing just one character, just Jago, but I think I'm going to learn Arbiter because it's Arbiter.
Yeah, why not?
It's Halo character.
Excellent.
What about
All right.
Rock?
So
Sorry,
that is our
I should brought
report
it up.
from
Get out.
the Xbox and Windows 10 game showcase. A quick footnote before we move on to the meat of the show, the news, which is there's a lot of it this week. Just want to note, because everybody's going to be curious, The Division, Tom Clancy's The Division, is out next week. And we received word from Ubisoft that
Everybody did. They sent out a press blast.
We will not. So
Review starts
review copies
launch
will
day.
not be sent out. Our review will begin on launch day. So if you're sort of sitting on the fence for The Division and looking for IGN to help you out and maybe trying to nudge you one way or the other with depending on how our review goes, Vince Ingenito will be doing that review. He's the perfect man for the job. But we're going to start with a review in progress on launch day. So do not expect a final score for that game for a number of days after it comes out. But we will be playing it. We'll be updating you on a regular basis to see what we think of it.
Yay.
Yay.
Like, that comes out Tuesday?
Tuesday.
No
That's so
way.
soon.
Next week, Tuesday?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Because we're
Just
already...
in time to not be able to play a whole bunch during GDC.
GDC's the week after.
Yeah, I know. You get your you get your feet wet. You get used to it. You do a couple cool missions.
Mitch
and
is
then
getting ready for pre-DC.
None of us can do anything ever again. There's a lot of pre-DC stuff.
Previous DC.
right. We'll come right back and
Yeah.
do some news. And then, again, stay tuned for the interview with Phil Spencer after
It's a good
that.
one.
Welcome back to Unlocked. It is time for our, semi-annual visit with Phil Spencer. It's like a State of the Union address.
It's the only time you'll let me in. I knock at the door,
Oh,
no
yeah.
one answers once
I'm
a year.
going to give you a quiz at the end to see if you're still listening to Unlocked every week. As
Okay,
you claim to,
okay.
but no, I'm not really. We don't have time for that. But I want to start with sort of the hot topic. I know you've sort of taken to Twitter about this a little bit, but what do you want to say to the folks who, in light of the Quantum Break thing coming to PC, that say,
Was there a
there's,
thing?
there's
I
no
don't-
reason to buy an Xbox One anymore if all this stuff's coming to PC? My argument was, do you even care? As long as people are playing in the Microsoft ecosystem.
Yeah,
does it
I heard
matter?
you guys say that. We absolutely care. Like there's when somebody makes an investment in Xbox One and they make that center of their console gaming experience, we have a commitment to make those people feel great about their investment in their console and continue to feel great about it. And so absolutely I care. I understand when you guys were answering, it was kind of from a financial standpoint, we get your money either way. I think was your term. I wouldn't say we get your money. But the we actually think there's kind of a fundamental difference between a gaming experience on a PC and a gaming experience on a television. And there are certain either people or time that you decide, I want to play in front of my television, I want Xbox One to be absolutely the best console gaming experience we can create. And we're committed to that today, and we'll be committed to that for many years. We're also Microsoft. We also look at Windows, obviously, as something that's critical to the success of the company. And frankly, as us, the gaming group, we look at Windows and we think we can actually have an impact there on making that a positive impact on Windows Windows 10 as a gaming platform. The argument that people give me that, hey, I'm just going to sell my Xbox One and play all these games on my PC, I get the emotion around that argument. Frankly, from a financial standpoint, absolutely the most cost-effective way to go play these games is to own an Xbox One.
$300 box.
Yeah, I mean, the graphics card alone is probably 2x what the Xbox to run at a similar resolution. But we also know that people love gaming rigs, and they've got them set up. So I look at that customer, and absolutely, I want to bring Xbox Live. We're committed to bringing our biggest franchises, both Xbox and Windows. We've said that. Doesn't mean necessarily that every game ends up on both platforms, because there could be some differences in just the play space and how things play. But we look at those Windows ecosystems, what it's going to mean for our console customers, more games to play. We're already seeing that. We're seeing more developers focusing on Xbox as the ecosystem gets bigger. So more people that they can sell their games to and play means more people playing, more games under development. I think those are really strong things for the Xbox One community.
Are you surprised at all at the sort of uproar with the Quantum Break stuff last week?
No, I expect it's kind of too much of a word, but I mean, you know this. I'm online most nights playing on my Xbox. People jump on and they'll talk to me about, you better keep this exclusive, you better keep that exclusive, keep only on Xbox. And I understand the passion around it. But what I want to, and I've said it to you, I've said it to other people in the industry, and in the press. I'm really focused on what people can play, not focused on what people can't play. I don't really think about that as a great way of growing our industry. I want to make sure that when people choose to play on our platforms, they have the broadest set of games to go play. I've said that in terms of deals that we'll do for content. I'm not a big fan of 30-day exclusive windows. I find that stuff kind of divisive in how our industry should be growing. And obviously we're going to create first-party games. We create first-party games to prove our ecosystem, prove our platform and service. So I don't know, expected is too high of a word, but I know there's a lot of passion around Xbox. I think the fundamental concern that people have is, are we losing focus on the console? Is Microsoft somehow going to back away from our console focus and just have us only focus on Windows? And absolutely not true. We are more committed to our console and the future of that console than we've ever been.
How do you feel now in hindsight, with enough time passed, about the Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider exclusive deal, about the timing of it, how it was received, how it worked out on the business side?
Yeah, the business side, I won't, because it's a partnership thing, I won't talk too much about, other than to say I feel great. Right, I love that a great game was able to come to market.
You would do that deal again?
There's always unique circumstance around teams coming and things that we can add and value that we can add, or even funding and publishing that we can add in that scenario. So every situation is unique. I learned definitely something about how we announced that game at that Gamescom. I thought we should have been more clear in how that game was going to come, whether it was exclusive or exclusive on console, and what the time meant. I took that feedback and I think about it a lot as we look at future announcements. I love that the game sold really well on Xbox. I know there's been some concern out there, did it die on Xbox? It did really well on Xbox. I saw some of the early sneak peeks into how it did on Windows all up, both on Steam, on Xbox One. Seems like it's doing really well there. At the end, I'm a big fan of Crystal Dynamics. I'm a big fan of Tomb Raider. The fact that the next iteration of the franchise got built and millions of people are playing it is a good thing for gaming.
You've talked about how Tomb Raider actually helped sort of fill a gap in your portfolio. Third-person action-adventure game. What other needs do you think the Xbox portfolio has at this point that you're looking to fill in one way or the other?
Well, there's two ways to look at it. There's from a first-party standpoint, where should we be investing our most kind of critical internal resource, which is our teams.
Yeah.
And I would love to see us on the console specifically continue to broaden out our portfolio. We have a lot of M games, a lot of core games. I think when I see things like Ori come out, they always light me up because I find not the game that's terribly, it's not easy,
No.
but it's something that from a subject matter and from a tone overall, it's very approachable to many people, and I love that. And I think there's a strength because I feel really good about our kind of core games that we have. I love that we're doing Halo Wars this year because I still think strategy on console is an underserved category. I love the first Halo Wars. I love the team that we're working with this time around. Creative Assembly is a great team. So that's an area. From the third-party side, I get asked a lot about JRPGs and why don't we have stronger support in Japan. And obviously Xbox isn't as strong as Japan as some of the Japanese brands. So that's an area from a third-party standpoint. I know we need to continue to focus and do better, and the fans tell me that.
You've accomplished a lot, no doubt, in your first couple of years. In fact, we're coming up on your 2-year anniversary, right?
Passed it.
Just passed it.
Just
okay.
passed it a couple weeks ago or
Awesome.
something. Or like right.
Well, happy
No.
anniversary.
Well, thank you.
But you've accomplished a lot. You talked to me at E3 last year about backwards
You're
compatibility.
right. We're
was
coming
a
up
big
on
thing,
it. You're right. Yeah, that's right.
For you, and you got that done. That is in progress. That is continuing to evolve and more games. What's your big overarching plan for 2016, 2017? Now, what are some of your big goals for the platform?
Yeah, and we talked about it here at this event at the beginning when we talked about where we're going and trying to bring our platforms together to allow gamers to have access to more games, allow developers and studios to be able to build games for more people, and make it easy for people to decide where they want to go play their content. I also talked a little bit about hardware generations and the fact that, to me as a console gamer, if you take out myself from being in the industry for a second, going and finding my old Dreamcast in a box and thinking about getting it out and plugging it all in to go play the games, there's this dynamic that happens in console generations. At the end of every console generation, you kind of box up the old one, you bring in the new one, and it's a complete refresh. And there's some coolness in that refresh, but from content and those great games being accessible all the time, we did backward compatibility, which certain people will say was just a selling feature for Xbox One. It was actually more core to our principles than that, of we actually want your content to be able to stay with you. And I love the idea of both backward and forward compatibility when you think about future innovations that can happen in the hardware space. And frankly, us decoupling to some extent how a game runs on a platform and the hardware itself allows for that hardware to continue to move in a generation, which is cool, and that's the games to stay with you longer. And we're very motivated by that inside of Xbox right now.
So we should expect, because you've publicly said there will be another Xbox box at some point down the road.
Right.
It sounds like it is a priority for you the library now will move with you.
That's our goal, right? Our goal is that your games that you buy on Xbox, we want to make a commitment to you that you'll get to continue to play them. I look at what happens on Windows today, and the kind of length of the lifespan of a Win32 game is pretty incredible when you think about it. And consoles just never had that capability. Now, there's downsides to that in terms of complexity and other things. And the reason I want to stay committed, and we will stay committed to building a console, because a console to me is that 10-foot appliance-like experience curated to some extent that I have my plug and play, right? And that's important, and that's not the same thing. A PC is a general purpose device that while I'm sitting there and I might be playing Tomb Raider, I can alt-tab over to Chrome and browse the web, right?
Yeah.
So, it's a different, I don't want to turn consoles into PCs because I do think they're fundamentally different, but I do look at the fact that I can still go back and boot my old Windows games, PC games, is something that's a real strength of that platform, and I don't think consoles should miss out on that.
You've said that you're already planning for E3. Every year. It's crazy how far in advance E3 gets planned.
We're planning
out.
on the next E3 already. I'm kidding.
What is sort of your theme for E3 this year? Last year you guys just kind of went hard. 90 minutes games. We're not going to really mess around with anything else. Other sort of whether it's entertainment stuff or what have you. Is there sort of an overarching theme that you're going to be working towards?
I think we've done that the last 3 E3s, and I think we'll stay focused on the content. To me, E3 is a gaming show. I've made the somewhat trite comment before, people buy gaming consoles to play games. and I want to stand there and highlight. But we did have moments last year like the Elite controller,
Yeah.
which I thought has been very well received.
keep
was
it in
nice.
stock.
No, we're slowly. I can see the being in stock. We're getting close, but it's so focusing on the gamer, what the gamer expects from us, and showing those things on stage will be exactly what I want to continue to do. I mean, it's. To me, that's what our brand stands for.
Last thing, real quick, being given the wrap-up sign. Have I interviewed enough of your old colleagues yet and kicked up enough of a hornet's nest yet on bringing back Xbox Live Arcade? Is that something you are looking at? Are you examining how digital gaming could be done even better on Xbox One?
Yeah, so there's two audiences here. There's the developers of the games, and I love the support we have with ID at Xbox right now. We have thousands and thousands of game of developers working, studios frankly, working in ID games. And then we've got the gamers and their desire to find the stuff that they want to go buy. And I think you brought up some good points with Greg around how we, as somebody who sees a lot of this stuff, can maybe help with some of the curation and promotion of some of the games to make sure you find the games that you should go play, like Fire and the Flood. You should go play a game. It's fantastic. So I think about those two audiences, and I want to do what's right. I don't want to do something purely for nostalgic reasons, nor do I think you do.
Right, no.
We want to do something that makes the ecosystem better. Right now, I'm really proud of we had a great year with ID last year in terms of the number of games that were sold and submitted and published, and it looks bigger this year. But if we can make that system better for both the gamer and the developer, I'm all in for doing it. And I think there's a lot of good ideas that you and Greg talked about in terms of the XBLA and what it meant last generation.
Awesome. Phil, always a pleasure. We will see you again, no doubt, at E3.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
All right. Since Destin has to go to a meeting that his boss called on him, we're going to rearrange.
That's one.
The
we
thing
already
we were gonna
talked
start
about the
with.
top one.
No, not really. But we'll get to it after Destin leaves.
Oh my
I
goodness.
guess
Because it's
That's fine, I
Destin's
deserve
show
it.
we'll talk
now,
about
everybody.
the thing Destin wants to talk about.
Cool.
No,
It's just an E3 meeting. Nothing really important.
it is in almost any other week. This would have definitely been the top news story, but
Yeah.
it's certainly worthy. Mass Effect Andromeda has been delayed
that's
to
fine. I don't care.
the calendar first quarter of 2017, according to EA Chief Financial Officer Blake Jorgensen.
Love that name.
It's a good name.
Real
I
good
didn't
name.
see outrage from
That is like a masculine. That is like that's a guy's name
Yeah,
right there.
that's a man who eats a porterhouse steak daily.
It's just like out in his backyard, just chopping trees down for sport.
Yeah,
We had
And
two big delays.
we're talking about Jorgensen. We're not
Sorry.
talking about the delay.
Sorry.
You wanted
So-
to stay for Jorgensen. You're staying for Jorgensen. That is
yeah.
the manliest man I think
So
I've
here's
ever
the thing:
seen in my
Mass
life.
Effect Andromeda. We got a release window. Back on track.
Holiday,
Sorry.
right? Holiday 2016.
Yeah, last year at E3, we got that gameplay trailer, that first look
Yeah.
at the game, and at the end, holiday 2016, not so much anymore.
Recorded in engine, not gameplay trailer. We got to be careful about that.
I'm sorry.
That's their marketing trickery working on you, Ryan.
It is.
Don't fall
It totally
for it.
is.
Yeah, I mean,
Don't
this
fall for it.
isn't a surprise to me. We haven't seen
No.
the game.
Game's gonna be phenomenal.
Well,
Mass Effect 2 and 3 also came out not in holiday.
correct.
Yeah, we just talked about that. You said
Yeah.
2 came out in
January.
January, and then March was 3.
I remember that
Yes.
because I played 2 in like the week before my first semester of college started. I was like, all right, I'm going to sit down and play through Mass Effect 2, and I did it like that week.
I love
perfect.
the idea of a Mass Effect game early 2017. Nothing else is going to be really competing with it.
You say that now. You say that now before 45 games get delayed out of
Exactly.
October and into
Yeah.
November.
Correct.
It's exactly what's going to happen.
In an ideal world, now I just get to play Mass Effect, enjoy it. There's nothing competing for that attention, and I just get to enjoy that experience.
Nothing would have competed for its attention. Anyway.
That's the point I wanted to make was, just the same way that Fallout 4 was the big, certainly the big third-party game, but I think we could just say the big game, period.
Yeah.
This past holiday, I don't think there was any doubt Mass Effect would have been the game for this holiday. That
wonder
would
if-
have
I wonder
been
if
the mega
don't-
Titanic kind of
Do you
thing.
think bigger than like Final Fantasy would, or bigger than Zelda?
Yes.
Yeah.
I wonder if
Yes.
other devs and pubs are just like, oh, thank God.
Oh yeah, you bet they are. Absolutely. I mean, like, if you're Microsoft, if you're either Microsoft or Sony or Nintendo for that matter,
Yeah.
where you're selling only on one platform, you're 100% going, okay, they're our third-party partner, but oh, thank God, their big thing isn't going to overlap with our big thing anymore.
Totally.
So, Q1 2017, as we've said a million times, a delay is 99% of the time never a bad thing.
Yeah.
Do you really want Mass Effect to come back in its most polished, perfect form possible?
It's already looking phenomenal. Take the extra time. I don't care. Delay it until later in 2017
And-
if that's what it takes.
Yeah, I mean, there'll be a million other things to play.
Yeah.
That's the good news.
Not worried at
And
all.
by the time this comes out, it will be a 5-year gap between Mass Effect 3 and
Yeah.
this, which is awesome. That's great. It's
Yeah.
like GTA, where it now this will be an event.
Wow,
when this
5
game
years?
is
Really? Are you sure?
March of 2012 was Mass Effect 3.
Wow.
Yeah, right before I started at IGN.
That was one of my big guides. I did the guide. I reviewed some of the DLC.
You will be half a decade older.
It feels like it wasn't that long ago. It's nuts to think that it'll be 5 years.
Yeah.
So,
I chased a weather balloon, got poison oak all over me. It sucked.
Oh God, I remember that. That was so great.
to get the first
It was
copy.
awful.
Didn't get that special
I think
edition
I had
though.
to call in one day and soak in what's the pink stuff that you
calamine lotion.
Calamine lotion. It was not good. It sucked. Yeah. Don't do marketing crap like that again. Idiots
No.
like me fall for it.
Fine, you can do it. Just don't do it.
Yeah, no, that's on you,
I
not on
have
them.
to.
No one said you had to.
These are
you
demands of Fran.
volunteered.
Fair enough.
So what do you guys think? What's going to be like the big thing for the holidays this year? I know
First party
we're
or
doing
third
the
party?
tip of anything.
It's
When
weird.
We're
right?
doing
was
the
Because
typical
Uncharted delayed
gamer
until
thing of
May.
No.
it's only March. It's March 2nd. And we're like, what's going to be the big the holiday title?
I
But
hope there is some top secret game we don't know about yet that is going to be like a
An
Fallout.
E3 one.
Yeah, because right now you look at what's coming and what's rumored to come, and it's like, okay, we have Gears of War 4,
Yep.
awesome. Battlefield 5 definitely has potential as a
talk
World
about that in a
War I
minute.
multiplayer shooter. Who knows? Gosh, what else is coming? I mean, Watch Dogs 2 is the other big rumor for this year, replacing Assassin's Creed, set in San Francisco. For Honor
Ghost
might be
Recon
this year.
Wildlands
Yeah,
could
Wildlands.
be a fourth quarter
I
game.
don't. Yeah, it's certainly possible.
Titanfall 2.
Yep.
Yeah,
But none of these scream
Final Fantasy,
like
Persona.
Yeah, Persona as well. Gosh, but none of these stand out as like, okay, Mass Effect. That game will own whatever month it's in. The only thing that could possibly compete with it is Call of Duty.
You don't think Zelda? I mean, granted, Zelda.
think
Zelda's
Zelda's
on
a real game.
fledgling. Yeah.
On the Red Hot Wii U system.
Hey, it's now going to also probably be on whatever the hell the Red Hot NX is.
It better be.
Yeah. Yeah. Or I mean, so Take-Two said that they're going to have a big presence at E3, and
that
we
true?
know that. Yeah, and so we know that means most likely. So that's it.
Dead.
Mafia.
Red Dead.
Obviously Mafia, but yeah. What if? I mean, I know Rockstar doesn't do E3, but for a thing like Red Dead, I think. Rockstar doesn't do E3 when it comes to GTA, but I feel
So-
like Red Dead is something that could be.
yeah, like put
We're
it on
all
the Microsoft
assuming that
stage.
this is their next thing.
I mean, it's just the worst assumption. We're all just like, yeah, it's gotta be Red
Because-
Dead.
I
we
want it
don't-
so badly to be Red Dead.
We don't know.
Red Dead 2 or like a re-release?
Red Dead 2.
I knew Red Dead. Well, Red Dead 3.
I
We're
don't-
still
gonna get into
waiting
it. I
on-
don't want
hold
to
on.
be more
What if it's a
remakes.
new one with a re-release?
Yeah,
of
perfect.
one?
We're still waiting on the Ballad of Gay Tony style, like large scale add-on for
Oh,
GTA
yeah.
5.
Did they ever
Remember-
say they were going to do that?
Why-
Yes, I'm trying to find the news story right now.
They-
But
But
man,
they
it
did.
still makes me mad. No, they
Oh.
did not. They absolutely did not.
What if Red Dead is just a movie that takes place in GTA 5?
Here we go.
We all
Like
know how GTA 5 ended.
In December of 2013, there was I wrote this news story.
Okay.
That was it was like 2.5 years
2.5 years ago. I can't find. Here we go. Here it is by
That was
Mitch
before you
Dyer.
started here. No, I'm just kidding.
What if the internet here was great?
wrote a blog.
Substantial GTA 5 story DLC coming in 2014.
2014?
A story I wrote in 2013. This is when they were like, oh yeah, and by the way, heists are coming online.
Right.
In 2014.
When did we get those? A month ago?
The developer said
Recently?
we have quote, we have big plans for substantial additions in 2014, including continuing Michael Franklin and Trevor's action mayhem and unexpected adventures in Southern San Andreas. And then on a call, it was Strauss who was like, yeah, we have substantial story DLC coming in 2014.
So that's why I think that happens before any potential Red Dead stuff
I
happens.
bet that doesn't happen.
You think they've
I think
moved
it
on?
legit
no.
doesn't
I
happen.
think they planned on it and they were like, you know what? No,
It's possible.
It's
I
better
mean-
served to just put this on PC to get it on Xbox One and
Yeah,
PS4, and
that's
that's what
entirely
we
And
want.
to handle all the online stuff and heists. And,
I just
No,
want more
totally
Grand
gonna
Theft
do
Auto
it.
5.
but I want
You guys are
Cowboys.
crazy. They're going to cash in on that big time. They're going to have a substantial story DLC.
I don't know, it's been
If he
3
said
years.
it publicly twice There's no way they're just like, yeah, let's just
Well,
can
well,
that
I know
extra
plans do
$20
change.
million.
Plans change. Bioshock Vita isn't a thing.
They sure talked about that.
I would be very surprised if it didn't happen.
I'll make a burger bet. I bet we never see GTA
we
5
go.
story
Broke
DLC.
a bat.
All right.
What? Watch the video.
Canadians
That
watch
was
with
my
their
favorite
left
hands.
What the hell was that?
The old Canadian handshake.
I have to go
My
like
favorite
around the
awkward
mic.
sexual position.
Canadian left hook shake, eh? Oh man.
Damn it, Destin.
So, well, now that we've segued into the Battlefield 5 thing, we'll go back to the Phil Spencer stuff. Plus, again,
already-
he's
All right.
on the show in a few minutes anyway.
He's great.
Battlefield 5, according to a random German retailer's listing, may be set in World War I. This retailer listing from
Maybe.
Germany says just has a description with a specific date of October 26th, which is awfully specific.
Yeah.
Usually the placeholder stuff is like the 1st or the 31st.
First, totally.
Did they take days out of October? Just kidding.
So the description is, quote, multiplayer this is translated from German, but it's multiplayer tactical shooter in World War I.
Yeah.
Which is, so my thoughts here are, tell me if you guys think I'm nuts, but this is either a retailer put this up knowing that the internet would pick it up, just looking for attention, looking for some notoriety, because people have tried other weird, I mean, Call of Duty had a social media campaign where they were talking about terrorism.
Mass
in
Effect
the
threw their
real
games into
world.
the woods.
Mass Effect floated. Chad,
bunch of
gave
idiots went
Destin-
searching for it.
Gave Destin Poison Oak. Or this
Ivy,
is some
I don't
sort
know.
of legit
hurt.
thing that they weren't supposed to post, and
Yep.
this game's set in World War I.
So I really hope this is true, even though I don't understand what this game would be if it's set in World War I,
Right?
especially a Battlefield game, which is
Yeah.
large scale.
Battlefield 1930,
Yeah,
31.
1919.
1919,
Yeah,
that's-
like I mean, I don't know. It's really interesting, but World War I was sort of before what the thought of quote modern warfare is. Not modern warfare as in Call of Duty, but modern warfare as in like World War II.
there's a gun in my mouth after you said that.
But yeah, I mean, it was trench warfare. It was slow. It was mustard gas.
I
It
love the
was-
idea of
There
like
were still horses and tanks.
Oh my God,
and-
yeah.
But there were people in airplanes and stuff like that.
sure,
so,
and
like,
tanks
there's some
and
diversity.
stuff like that existed. But I love the idea of a game where it's like, okay, like you don't have machine weaponry, like machine guns, like automatic weapons aren't prevalent.
They had nests of like
Sure.
machine guns.
Yeah, of course. But you're not like the most boring game of all time. So I love the idea of like, okay, like we've got a pistol and a knife, and we are gonna like any enemy encounter is like 5 guys in an
Yeah.
entire mission.
Yeah.
Instead of just mowing down
I think it'd
45
be super.
men a minute.
Yeah, and they
It's like
use the
5
word
guys.
tactical,
You got to use
which is
stealth and
interesting.
be careful
Because
you
no
know.
one like Battlefield isn't known for tactical, really.
Sure.
Right? Like that's not,
Not
a word
really.
I
Well,
would describe. Like I would describe it as
I
large
would
scale.
disagree. I would disagree. I think Battlefield is one of the more tactical shooters on the market, actually. Just because like you can work together with a squad, you can have a
I
healer.
agree with Destin on that.
You know, and you have different classes that
That
you
makes
can
sense.
choose.
I don't know. To me,
and if
tactics
you work
is
together
slower paced.
effectively.
Like that's to me tactics
Tactics is specifically anticipating enemy movements.
like to me tactics is brothers in arms, and so
Yes.
I'm almost thinking
Well,
that this might be more along the lines of that.
Maybe.
Which would be interesting.
I would love
So,
that.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, right now we are talking about a single player campaign. We are not talking about whatever the multiplayer is going to be. What is the multiplayer for a World War I shooter?
Jumping out of a biplane into another biplane.
Well, remember
There were
though, that
helicopters,
the
right?
Dice
helicopters,
made their name
That's Vietnam.
on a World War II shooter.
Totally.
Battlefield 1942 was the gold standard for multiplayer first-person shooters, and it happened to be set in a similar time period. So there's no, I don't doubt the design viability of this at all.
Here's some awesome stuff that's happened since the last great World War I or II shooter.
Yeah.
Design philosophy has massively evolved. The technology has evolved. I think we're going to get something really cool with a developer like this working on a
Well,
product.
it's funny you
bringing
say
it
that.
back.
Marty and I were talking about this in the IGN newsroom earlier, and that's or no, it was Brandon Tyrell. I'm going to give you the credit anyway, Marty.
suck it, BT.
Yeah. So when Call of Duty 2 was a launch title for 360, we'd already had a million World War II shooters at that point. But Call of Duty 2 was not only just a great game, great design game, but technologically speaking, you had that awesome
That smoke.
volumetric smoke, right, from the smoke grenades.
was the big thing.
And that sort of added a new wrinkle to it by virtue of the technology. We haven't had a World War II game purpose built for this new generation of consoles yet. So I think it would be really cool to see a World War I game built for 8 gigs of RAM and
Totally.
the Jaguar GPU and
Yeah, because there hasn't been a
what?
16.
What?
Oh, you're talking about
The console, the
sorry.
PS4 and Xbox
I'm thinking
One.
PC.
Hang with me, my
Yeah.
friend. We're on an Xbox show.
Yeah, I'm
Aren't they the
imagining
same
like
thing though now?
I'm imagining what they can do, like with the rain effects, smoke effects. How rain affects your visibility. I'm just thinking all the crazy stuff they could do with the new engine.
Yeah. So
How's Levolution going to work
Oh,
on the
boy.
Western front?
That would be kind of cool.
More than
actually.
anything,
I know it's goofy, but they could do some cool stuff.
I do, if this is true, I 100% salute EA and DICE for taking the first step in the industry out of the modern warfare / future warfare just clone zone that we're in now, because that's what everybody's doing. is
Yeah.
Modern warfare, future warfare, and we've done whole shows about this before. How
Pendulum swing.
we're all just sick of it, and yeah, we're ready for that pendulum to swing back. So
I'm ready to go back.
because it took, when World War II games were ubiquitous, it took Infinity Ward, it took Vince and Jason to finally go, Call of Duty 4 is a modern warfare game, and that sort of was the first domino to fall. So I'm ready for a break from the modern warfare games. Do you have to go, Destin?
I'm ready to go back to the first story about Phil Spencer.
And back
In the
to your
next 3
job.
minutes?
And get out.
Yeah, I'll just bounce now. Thank you guys. I wrote down my answer, by the way,
for
for
Unlock
trivia.
Block. Okay.
So
you're
I would like
good
to point
go.
out,
It's
you
really
may
easy.
never once again complain about the phone-in. This is equal.
It's equal.
This is equal.
my
You are-
manager told me I have to go to a meeting. This
I
how
was
is this
on
equal?
vacation for my mother's 50th birthday.
Aw.
So
Just
what?
go.
Destin, say
I'll
something.
let the community decide, but this is a super easy answer.
They don't get to decide. This is equal. I'm making the call. This is equal. I'll fight you. I'll fight you.
No, it's not equal. I was here on the show. I was present and circled my answer. It's different. It is not equal.
You here for trivia now? I don't think so.
Hold on.
Oh, we bring
I'm
it up?
just checking the scoring real quick. to
I'm
just-
way behind, so I need this.
yeah, give him a break. He's only got 2 points. You and
And
Marty
you're
have
going to get it
4.
anyway, so it's going to be like I'm sure I'm confident.
I
that
gave you guys
know
kind of a
this.
softball this week. You should all get this week's question.
Yeah.
So we'll get to that. Destin,
I gotta go.
always good to see
Thank
you.
you, guys.
We'll see you on next week's show.
Destin circled E.
For the rest of us,
The rest
let's
of us.
talk about Phil Spencer's opening comments.
Yes.
Which I actually wasn't there for. I had a thing I had to do. Read about it later, heard it from you guys. But he touches on some of this in the interview coming up very shortly as well. But Mitch Dyer, Phil Spencer implied that Xbox One games will work on the next Xbox console, and that the Xbox itself, as a platform, we could see incremental updates to its hardware.
That would
is
be
that is
super interesting.
wild.
So what is that like? So what I take this as is when they release the Xbox One Elite version would be. They already have that. Wait. Called Elite?
Yeah. It has the fancier hard drive in it.
Oh, okay. But when they release that, instead of just doing space, it's like literally it's better performance.
Basically, you're talking about an iPad to iPad
Yes,
2,
totally,
like
totally.
an iPad iPhone situation
Yeah.
where it's all the apps, it's all the same ecosystem, but my 6 Plus doesn't run it as well as your 6.
Right, but it runs
S.
it. That's
Yeah.
the thing, is the software must run, and this is so contingent on the thing they're talking about, the Universal Windows application.
Application.
Yeah.
Like a game that work on Windows and Xbox is
Yeah.
what that means. And universal on the platform, right? Like if Xbox hardware is going to evolve, it needs to make sure that, and developers need to make sure that games run sufficiently on the old hardware. Obviously, that means you can do a lot more if you have better hardware, better access to better hardware as the platform evolves. But if you start doing stuff that older pieces of hardware can't do, then you're sort of breaking the
boning
rule.
your early adopters.
Exactly that, and you're breaking the rule
Well,
of Universal Windows application.
and
Like,
here's-
it running is not the same as it being a good game.
Let's
Functioning properly.
say they move ahead with this, and let's say every 2 years there's a Xbox One Plus or the Xbox One S or whatever the hell it's going to be called. By going incremental, you're not going to muster the same meteoric kind of impact in the mass media or even necessarily in the gamer community as you would with a boom Xbox 4.
Yeah,
Here
totally.
it is. Like is the trade-off worth it for to evolve rather than have a revolution of sorts, an evolution rather than a revolution.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. It's sort of unprecedented in terms of, well, not completely unprecedented. Like
I mean, it's PC gaming.
It's PC gaming. I
effectively.
was just gonna say in the console space, and that's actually not quite true because like the N64 had that RAM cartridge
true.
that you put in there.
That's true.
Which certain games like Donkey
The
Kong,
32X for
Yeah,
the Genesis,
I mean, totally,
which didn't go well.
No, that didn't go well at all. I don't know. It's really interesting to me. Like I'm not 100% sold. Like Mitch said, I would really be worried that if you have a launch Xbox One by the time you're nearing
that
the end
you
of the
paid
generation,
$500
that you paid
for.
$500 for, that when you buy Halo 6, that it's not running as well.
Right.
As
Yeah.
someone who has a newer Xbox One, like that's a little worrisome. But I don't know. It's cool. It's exciting.
I wonder if the answer could in fact be a hybrid of the two, where maybe there will be one or two Xbox One upgrades to the hardware over the next 4 years, but then there'll still be I don't want to call it a cutoff point, but there will still be a proper like boom, full platform, like new Xbox, where the old stuff will work, but the new stuff wouldn't necessarily work. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Oh, I mean, you're just talking about whatever the next true console
Yes.
is? Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I didn't take this as we're not going to get that. Did
okay.
you?
Not really, but I
Yeah.
just kind of wanted to.
Yeah, no, I absolutely think in whatever 4-5 years we'll get the
Yeah.
the Xbox 2 and the PS5 or whatever. I don't think
Yeah.
I don't think that's ending anytime soon.
I don't know.
Please don't call it the Xbox 2.
Please don't.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, they sort
I-
of painted themselves into a corner.
Yeah, the naming
Yeah,
corner.
what's next?
What are we gonna do?
They're kicking the can down the road. We'll let the next guy worry about that.
Well, they could always. I back with when 360 was coming, and we had heard at OXM that one of the finalists for the name was Xbox Next. Like,
Yeah,
they could
nice.
just unearth that one
Yeah.
because that's
Yeah.
You know what
always
I heard?
implies the future.
Yeah.
Next
I
always
heard-
implies future.
I heard a weird thing. I
Yeah.
don't know if this is verified or true. This was not even something that was published. Don't even know if I can't remember who told me or where
All
it came
you've
from.
caveated it sufficiently.
Might not even be able to supposed to be talking about this. Those names,
Yeah.
those fake names, were distributed intentionally to different
but
people.
You're talking about with the Xbox One, though.
Yes.
I'm talking about
Oh, that with the
way
specific-
back.
Oh, I
this
do
is-
remember that.
but
thing
Yeah, with the Xbox One.
You're right, because we talked to a certain developer, people we knew.
Yes.
that they were told
a
like, 'cause-
specifically different name
'cause
than
we
other
were
teams.
we
It's
were
almost like
told.
watermark.
Should we even
Yes.
say it?
What?
Were we going to get in trouble?
Which part? Probably not. Just to be safe.
But we were told like on good authority from a developer, like, oh yeah,
This is what it
the
is
name.
called.
This is the name, and we were like, that's not bad. We could that's fine. And then we were actually shocked when it was Xbox One.
Yes, because to my understanding, developers working on Xbox One games were given. They did not know the name of the machine, and they were all given fake names.
Because
so
I guess
if
Microsoft knew it was going to leak.
Right, so that if and when it leaked, they knew exactly
Did it
where it
leak?
came from. Numerous names leaked.
One did
but that
not
one
leak.
did not.
One
but
did
there were a
not.
bunch that did not,
Yeah.
or a bunch that did.
Interesting.
360 didn't leak either.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know.
managed to keep those under wraps somehow.
Good stuff.
God, I don't even know what we were. So back to the
Back to Phil
back to
and
Phil
Windows
Spencer.
and Xbox Evolution.
So, yeah, I mean, I love the idea of having a sort of universal Windows Xbox platform.
Same.
Where you just play wherever you want to play.
Mm-hmm.
If I decide, like I was saying earlier, like Quantum Break, I've got a sufficient PC. I'm gonna go PC for this one. But then like Sea of Thieves, no way. I want to be on my couch.
Yeah.
Just with the controller and with the live headset
But I
talking to
want
my
both.
crew.
Like, I want there to be a situation where like my girlfriend's on a machine in the living room and I want to play Sea of Thieves, or
Right.
we want to play together, so
Right.
I can play
And
on PC and she can play
I'm
on
not
Xbox.
disputing that. I'm just saying
Yeah,
my whatever my
of course
mood is.
I just love
effectively.
the notion that I could do either or both at any given moment.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, this is. So when do you guys think we're going to get that? When is the next Xbox?
As in.
Yeah, the next proper full blown Xbox console.
Like not an evolution, not Xbox.
Xbox 4.
Right.
So what was it? It
Go
was
big.
2005 to 2013.
Correct.
Eight years.
8 years.
So 8 years. 2019.
I think that's way too soon. I think if they're really committed to this, the stuff he's talking about with adaptive hardware, then it has to be later. It's gotta be
Next fall.
Next fall. It's coming. It's actually at E3 this year.
Oh, and it's out now.
Oh, man.
$99.99.
Nintendo NX doomed.
No, I would bet it's later than 2020.
I'm gonna split the difference. I think it's 2020. I think it's not 8 years, but it'll be long, but not quite. I think 7 years. I think it's gonna be 2020.
Right. 5 years from now, we'll regroup for this Tontine.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. Yeah, I'm really curious to see what the Xbox One hardware is going to be like in 4 years. Like, is it going to be substantially more powerful because of this?
But well, the what you mean, the next console proper?
No. The Xbox One.
Oh, the the revisions.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing stopping them from following the exact smartphone playbook and releasing the Xbox One Plus next Christmas before or in time for Halo 6.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's got the same CPU, but it's got a like monster GPU in it,
yeah.
like comparatively speaking, that's more powerful than maybe than PS4 or Xbox One.
Yeah. Well, they can do
And
different stuff too, right? That's not just visual or processing. It's like you can make a better wireless device that's inside, so your Wi-Fi is better.
Potentially.
Like, things like that.
Yeah.
It's smaller
Yeah.
stuff that is but it's appreciated
You
in the
get
moment,
more
but you
apps
don't
running
think
at
about
once.
it.
You
And
can-
maybe there's more RAM in it.
Yeah. Sure.
That if things could potentially take advantage of. And and where I was going with the smartphone thing was, you could then charge $400 for that box, and potentially sell an Xbox. You could sell 3 Xbox Ones to the same customer over the course of the system's life, rather than Marty. You mentioned
Yeah.
the guy that pays $500 on launch
Yeah.
day, and he's done spending money on Xbox hardware for 8 years,
Yeah, totally.
or 7 years, whatever it is. Because I know I would. That is the enthusiast crowd. That is us. That is our audience. We are going to, if there is a better upgraded Xbox next year, we're buying it.
Yeah, totally.
We're 100% buying it. We're going to play our games as at the top end of they're capable of being played.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Very interesting.
Yeah. So very fascinating. We've got a little bit more on this from Phil coming up in the interview, as well as some other topics, such as I asked him what he thinks the portfolio is missing, like sort of genre-wise. You'll hear a few things coming up. What do we got left? Oh, another thing that I want to hop on the soapbox about. This is burning me. I hate
Are
this.
you getting burned?
Well, I feel like, yes.
Oh, this is the thing I looked at earlier, and I was like, oh, yeah, you're very angry
Oh, yeah.
about this. Yeah.
So, Capcom, Mitch Dyer, you and the IGN News team put out a story via Capcom release.
I'm super excited to be writing about the Resident Evil 4 release date for the 9th time.
Capcom is re-releasing Resident Evils 4, 5, and 6 as $20 games again. And I know I've argued about this before, I've cried about this before, but this was kind of almost the final nail. Not final nail, like I'll never.
But it was like the last straw
But
of like,
it's-
all right,
forget
I'm
this.
done.
Like Capcom. So
3 at once? Are you kidding me?
I'm just gonna say this. And you guys can disagree with me all you want if you feel that way. I think Capcom is the worst major third-party publisher this generation.
What about Konami?
Shit. Okay. All right. Second worst.
No, this generation, absolutely.
So,
yeah.
Part of the reason that I'm so upset is because at this point, last generation, Capcom was one of the best. One of the best. You had Keiji Inafune leading development teams in the East and the West, and that were making things new, innovative, awesome things like Dead Rising, like Lost Planet, like at the time, Resident Evil 5, which was very much a reinvention.
Totally.
And a game that is kind of, a lot of people didn't like it. I played that entire game in co-op over Xbox Live with Mitch Dyer.
That's you.
And I had an amazing time.
It was awesome.
If I'd have played it, if I'd have
really
played it by
enjoyed that
myself, maybe I would have felt differently. But as a co-op
We had a bad
experience,
time.
we had
Super
an
fun.
awesome
Yeah.
time.
6
I don't
sucks,
get
5's
the
good.
hate for that game. 5,
I
I like 5
don't
a
either.
lot.
6 was awful.
Yeah.
You know what game I don't want to buy again though? Resident Evil 5.
You know what's I think the craziest thing about all of this is, do you know how they're releasing?
Yeah.
6 is releasing first, and then months later 5 is releasing, and then months later 4 is releasing. So
Why?
you couldn't even chronologically get your mistake right.
So Capcom, they have, I know I've said this on the show, they have publicly stated in like shareholder or investor calls, they have said their current corporate strategy is remasters. It is mine the back catalog. The only new things Capcom has done, Dead Rising 3 was a launch title.
Thanks, Microsoft.
Published by Microsoft.
Yeah.
That game would not have happened had Microsoft not stepped in. Street Fighter V,
Thanks,
recently
Sony.
released. Thanks, Sony. Would not have happened had Sony not stepped in and paid for it. And even that is a sort of a husk, that game right now.
Yeah.
So Capcom is, they sit on, it's a lot like how I used to be frustrated with, rest in peace now, but LucasArts.
Mm-hmm.
They sat on this gold mine of IPs and things that they just never did anything with. That's what Capcom's problem. That's a part of my problem with Capcom now. They're sitting on this treasure trove of great stuff. Dino Crisis, Onimusha. They've done. It's just nothing.
I would love an Onimusha reboot.
It's nothing but back catalog garbage. And I know that people could argue, well, the problem is gamers who keep buying it. No, that's only a little part of the problem. The problem is Capcom not stepping up and putting any money or vision or belief in any new ideas and getting out there with something.
This used to be the most inspiring, creative, inventive game publisher around. Like, they are responsible for the entirety of the reason half the games that you loved as a child, Capcom.
Yeah,
The
totally.
other half probably Konami.
Yeah.
Anything that wasn't
Mega
Nintendo.
Man, Street Fighter.
Right,
Yeah,
like
seriously.
it's all there, and there's so much good stuff. And at the turn of every generation, they were responsible for massive shifts in genre, and they were cinematic at the beginning of the PlayStation genre, and now they are what?
They wrote a new, as part of their whole push last generation with those games, the Dead Risings of the world we just talked about. They had MT Framework 2.0. They wrote a new engine for the last generation of consoles. Like, they were all in. They were all in creatively. They were all in technologically, and because those games all turned into franchises that we just said. Lost Planet, Dead Rising, and then Resident Evil continued. They built Street Fighter off of that technology, Street Fighter 4, which was phenomenal and a huge game. So I just don't. I'm sick of Capcom. They should just stop, either put up or just stop, just get out of the business. Like, go do something else, because I'm sick of you guys.
Yeah, I completely agree with all this, but if they either show me Mega Man 11 or a cool new Resident Evil, I'll forgive them.
Well, yes, that would be the point.
Also,
Showing something
if
new.
even if they just said, hey, we're doing all these, but we're doing all these so that we can make a cool big Resident Evil for you. But they're not saying that, and I don't know if they are doing that, and I want them to. I want a real big spooky game.
I want to. I'm getting slightly into conspiracy theory territory here, but I want to point out, I don't think it's a coincidence that, to me, this creative downfall of Capcom seemed to coincide with the time of Inafune leaving.
Yeah.
He was the guy that was responsible for bridging those East and West tendencies and interests.
Totally.
And ever since he's left, this company has dried up from a creative
Here's another
standpoint.
conspiracy. Ted Cruz is a Zodiac killer. What's the Dead Rising team been working on since Dead Rising? Was that
We don't
Vancouver?
know.
I don't know.
They're in Vancouver now.
It's
yeah.
funny. They've been hiring a game director or a creative director for 2 years. It's like the job listing just keeps getting posted as
not
like,
good.
oh, we need a creative director. So I don't know if people are leaving and that whatever project that is.
Or if it's 2 projects, maybe?
Right, I don't know.
I mean, they've been doing something. It's been, 2.5 years since?
Yeah. That was launch
Rising
game.
3?
So, 2+ years.
Yeah.
All right. So, anyway, Capcom, just stop doing what you're doing.
Stop it.
Go back to
Bad Capcom.
Go back to 2006 Capcom. That level of creativity.
Yeah, buying a Commando rearmed. The 2D one, not the
love
wife
that
arm.
game. Rearmed is so good.
Wife Arm wasn't so bad. It was just the story was weird.
Wife arm wasn't so bad. It was just the wife arm that was bad.
I reviewed that game.
No, it wasn't a bad game.
Yeah.
Also, the fact that I had wife arm makes me remember it. So
That's
Good on
true.
you.
That is true. A couple final points. Let's crank it over back to the happy. Let's turn up the happy a little bit. Carmageddon is coming to consoles, which makes me super happy. Carmageddon Max Damage is on its way to Xbox One and PS4 in the summer, which is the perfect time for it to come out. You'll recall, if you're like me, an old Carmageddon fan, this was a Kickstarter success story. It did come out for PC, a Carmageddon reboot by the original team. They got the rights back. It was largely still the original crew from like 20 years ago. So this is now coming to the Xbox One in the summer. It's a perfect fit it's like an ideal gamepad arcade driving game. The new one it's good. It's not as good as the originals, but it's super fun. And it's great to see Stainless Games fulfilling their promise, because they actually had said,
it's going to consoles.
We in the Kickstarter, we want to get this to consoles if we raise enough money. And they did.
Nice.
So, but they've been quiet on it ever since. And plus, in this video game, you can run over human beings in a DeLorean.
That's what you did through.
I owned a DeLorean,
That's
and
what you did through much of the aughts.
I couldn't even run over here. Not real. I'd be in jail right now. So it's fantasy fulfillment, no matter what your background
Do you have
is.
an actual DeLorean in the game?
It's
like a license, or it
no.
looks like a DeLorean?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a DeGorian.
DeLorean. That's clever. Because you run over people in
I don't get
Gory.
it.
You want to know a cool other side joke in
Yes.
there? On the front of the car, on the front of the DeGorian, it says "Run," where the DMC logo is.
That's
So Run
really
DMC.
good.
Yeah.
It's really great.
All right.
That's
this is
fan.
clever.
multi-layer jokes
right, I
going
like
on
it.
right there. You're in. So look for Carmageddon to hit the Xbox One this summer. And finally, I'm not one to advocate pre-orders because you don't know if you're going to get burned. But if you feel pretty good about Doom and you're thinking you want to get the new Doom, might want to pre-order it. And here's why. You are getting what is, I guess, more or less a $20 value, because you can still buy these games on the Xbox Marketplace. You get Doom and Doom 2 for free. They're both backwards compatible. They're the 360 versions, but they run on Xbox One. The 360 versions of a 1993 PC game.
Pretty good ports.
They are really good ports, actually. They control great with a gamepad because there's no looking up or down, so you're just...
Also, the games have aged incredibly well. Like, games are still
Unbelievably well.
so fun to play. Just because I think just because mechanically it was so simple.
Yeah.
I mean, despite being revolutionary, it was simple. The games are tons of fun to play.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, the fact of the matter is, if you're a 20-something, particularly early 20-something listener of this show, and you weren't around for Doom when it first came out, the first-person shooters, as you play and enjoy them now, exist because of these two games.
Yeah.
So the fact that you can get them both for free for pre-ordering the new Doom is pretty sweet. They are. It's little history in action, and like the guys say, they totally hold up.
Yeah, like Mario.
They're
Like the original
so
Mario, it still
good.
holds up. It's not like going back and if you like adventure games, play Zork. It's like, no.
If you never played them, you owe it to yourself to to go through them, because they're so good.
You've never punched an imp and made him explode with your cool fist. Yeah.
Berserker pack. Yeah. Yes.
Imps.
I like you, Marty.
Yeah.
You're a good guy. Yeah. All right.
You know,
That's enough of that.
Doom backwards is mood. Just realize that. Think about it. Makes you think. I don't know what's happening.
I'm in the mood to play Doom. How about that?
Boom.
Boom.
Palindrome.
Mitch Dyer, what can we spend our money on this week?
You can get Prison Architect on Game Preview for $30. It also has a free trial.
Like that free trial, we told Major Nelson, all games, free trials. Looks like he's...
Evidently, that trial was guilty because he went to prison.
Bow, 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 bow. Gunscape is $20. Don't know what that is. We told Major Nelson that's a problem too.
Alekine's gun.
Thank you. Alekine's gun, $50. Never heard of it. Screen Sheet, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, Screen Sheet's a super
$12.
fun 4-player split screen multiplayer basic shooter where you're supposed to look at everyone else's screen because the characters are invisible in the environment. Real fun.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Big dumb fun.
The Solus Project is in Game Preview for $13.50 with a free trial. Looks like a cool, moonwalking man survival game. Tiny Troopers Joint Ops, which I'm pretty sure was a mobile game that was pretty well regarded. $10. And your Xbox games with gold this month for March, because now we're in March.
We are.
Sherlock Holmes Crimes and Punishment available all month long. And
This series is pretty good, by the way.
yeah. Lords of the Fallen, that was like a Dark Soulsian Polish game, right?
Yeah, Dark Souls.
I
is a
go to
Polish
you
game.
for our Polish news.
It wasn't the two things I know are Polish games and Dark Souls. Yeah, the game's pretty good. It's definitely a poor man's Dark Souls, but it's not bad.
Okay, starting March 15th.
Well, if you're
through,
poor, it's free.
That's true.
That's
Perfect. That's available March 15th through April 15th. And on Xbox 360, Supreme Commander 2, which is an RTS, is available for the first half of the month before switching over to Borderlands.
Yeah, Supreme Commander 2.
Borderlands 1?
Yeah, right?
It's a really good RTS. The controls are in order to cram the RTS controls into a gamepad. I specifically remember this game for some reason. There are just like layers and layers of them where you have like you'll use like the trigger or the bumper as like a shift key to get like 6 new buttons, but it works, and it is a really good strategy game.
Nice.
So if you're into that kind of thing.
Vidgies.
Cool. All right, we'll come right back, and the Ghost of Destin will take on Marty and Mitch in Unlock Block Trivia.
Which is a lot like taking a phone call.
Right after this. All right, Unlock Block Trivia time. I'm going to start with the Ghost of Destin Legary when I read the question, which is from Colin in Kitchener, Ontario.
Your boy.
Different Colin.
Oh, my mistake.
Pride of Kitchener, Ontario.
He has won himself a copy of some video game. I think I'm down to copies of the backwards compatible Gears of War games from 360. Had a few other ones claimed. So we'll hook you up, Colin, and you win for submitting this question, which I'll now attempt to stump the panel with. It is this: Stubbs the Zombie, Rebel Without a Pulse, was originally released on the original Xbox in 2005. It was developed using what game engine? Was it the Brute Force engine, the Halo engine, Oddworld Munch's Odyssey's game engine, or Fable's game engine? I'm going to go over to Destin first. Well, guys, I'm going to come up with a segue.
I was just about to ask, can I do it? But you got it.
I was actually using Killer Instinct Season 4 as
that's using my power.
At first, I was going to say Brute Force, but then I remembered.
I'm going to go with B, Halo. That's Destin's answer.
Even a broken clock is right twice a day. Destin
Marty?
is a broken. Yeah, I wrote this says Halo. Even
I was
going to
say, did you sign the
Turns out I'm the
signature?
Zodiac Killer.
Ted Cruz is off the hook.
I remember this being Halo. Also, I miss Brute Force. Maybe I should go back and play it because I don't know if I actually
Don't do that.
I overrated that game really badly.
9.7.
It's somebody was asking me about it like not that long, like in recent memory, and I was like, oh yeah, it wasn't very good. I think I gave it like a 6 point something. I actually went back and looked in the physical archive on the magazine rack. I gave it an 8 something. I'm like, no, young me, what were you thinking? That game was flawed. So flawed. It put the studio out of business. That's how not well that game
it had
did.
a lizard.
Digital Anvil was the studio.
Yeah.
That was Chris Roberts.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Anyway, Mitch.
I also said Halo because I'm pretty sure this was made by a bunch of ex-Bungie folks.
Yeah, everybody said Halo. Everybody was correct.
Destin
This was a
remains
softball.
behind.
What was the game where you had a gun that shot sharks?
Oh.
And you also had a gun that turned the level upside down?
That's are you thinking of Armed and Dangerous?
Yes.
Was a
That was a
LucasArts game.
LucasArts game.
Oh, was it really?
From an ex Imagine Media guy, like an ex Journo guy.
Oh, really?
Aaron Loeb. Okay. Dang. It'll come to me later.
yeah.
But yeah.
Okay.
LucasArts published that game you're thinking
For
of.
some reason, both these
Shark
games...
gun. You shot
the shark gun.
and
There's
then
a shark
the
gun. That was more
goes
like
down.
cartoony,
Yeah.
whereas Brute Force was sort of gritty
More-
and realistic. Well, you were still a lizard man.
It was just a 4-player sci-fi. Like before I got to OXM,
Uh-oh.
they put the next Halo on the cover.
Oh, no.
Took a long time to live that one down. Like, not guilty. I wasn't here for that.
Was there at least a question mark at the end?
Anyway, yeah, you're right, Mitch. This was Alex Seropian, one of the co-creators of Halo from the old Bungie days. That's whose studio made this game.
Nice.
So good memory, everybody. Good job, Colin, Kitchener, Ontario. You win something or
Did
other.
it.
If you want to win something or other also, send your Xbox-related trivia question. Include 4 multiple choice answers. Please note the correct one in your email. And send that where, Mitch?
Unlocked.ign.com.
Baller. Let's go home. Destin's not here, so he doesn't get to plug anything he's doing.
There's 4 hours of work left.
Well,
More hours of work left than that.
There's so much work left.
I was writing on planes yesterday.
That's true. That's true.
I'm going to go ahead and go home.
We're jet setting.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I'm stoked for everybody to see that tomorrow.
Yeah.
Sadly, not Xbox related.
No,
but
but
whatever.
still, if you like good video games.
If you like video games.
Yeah.
Mitch Dyer, plugs.
At MitchyD on Twitter. Listen to IGN Overclocked. It's our PC show, strangely relevant to the Xbox podcast.
Are we going to have to merge them into just IGN Locked? Because that's what.
Underclocked.
Right?
Underclocked? I love it.
I don't know. We'll workshop it. Whatever. Clocked.
Yeah.
Unclocked.
Check out my, the features I wrote based on our interview with Phil, going to the event. There's a lot of stuff about Microsoft saying they have a lot to prove with PC gaming, and I agree.
Good.
All right.
I am on Twitter and Instagrams and Peach at McBiggity. I don't know what Peach is.
Hello.
At McBiggity. We
Peach,
did a
James and the Giant.
Yes, exactly. My favorite childhood. I was about to say my children-based social network. I'm like, nope, that's not a thing. I'm not on that thing. I'm not on
They're
that.
coming to arrest you, Marty.
We just put up a bunch of Dark Souls 3 stuff that was a global effort.
Very Xbox related.
Very Xbox related. We played the first 4 hours or so. We have a ton of footage, ton of great written pieces. Me, Dan Krupa, Chloe, and Lucy put up all sorts of stuff. So check that out. That game's going to be cool.
More coming, too. Yes. I'll tease that.
Ooh.
At DMC_Ryan. For me, I want to announce that the IGN Unfiltered guest for this month is none other than the legend himself, Marty O'Donnell.
He made the music in Halo.
So this month's IGN First is Golem, which is Marty's new studio, Highwire Games. They are making a PlayStation VR game, specifically for PlayStation VR. It is far and away the best, the most intriguing VR title I've seen so far, because it's a real game. It is a story-driven game with combat and mechanics and story. It's not a tech demo or a series of mini games, and it is by half their team is longtime Bungie veterans. And the other half of the team is longtime Sucker Punch guys from Infamous. So some serious talent working on that game. We're covering it all month long, which I know is not specifically relevant to our Xbox crowd. But this IGN Unfiltered, which will go up towards the end of the month with Marty, will very much be relevant to the Xbox audience, because obviously we talk all about Halo. He talks about... Well, forget it. It's a little early for teasing, but it's honestly it's the Unfiltered I'm most proud of so far.
That's awesome.
We talked for almost 2 hours. It is the longest Unfiltered yet. So it is going to test the limits of people's patience for this dumb little show I'm doing. So look out for that. Please check my Twitter profile page for a link to some cool T-shirts I'm selling. And my Tesla podcast. If you think electric cars are cool, specifically the ones Tesla makes, I'm doing a weekly show about it because my wife was sick of hearing about it. So I made a podcast about it instead.
Find your own avenue, Ryan.
Hey, and so I did. That is called Ride the Lightning. You can find it on iTunes. If you just search Tesla, it'll pop right up on there. And we're done.
We did it.
Destin Legary, thank you, even though you're not here. Marty Sleva, you are here. Thank you.
I am here. Thank you.
Mitch Dyer, awesome as always.
Anytime.
Appreciate all the efforts. Thanks to all the fans as well. Thanks to Phil Spencer for taking 15 minutes to let me interview him, catch up a little bit. I suspect the next shot I'll get at Phil will be E3. They don't let him out very often, and they don't let me near him very often.
They don't let him. He's not allowed to eat after midnight.
Pretty much.
Yeah. I think that was a gremlin thing. If not, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I referred to you as a gremlin, Phil.
Mitch just gave me the most serious, studious look. It was just like
yes, gremlins.
What are we talking?
Joe Dante films.
I was all.
Don't get them wet. These are all gremlin rules, I think. Ryan, why do you let me still talk? Why don't you just end the podcast? Get it out of here. Get us out of here.
Let's just keep talking until Ryan ends the podcast abruptly.
Is this a filibuster?
Yeah.
A filibuster! I don't know what that is, but we can do it.
I press stop.